Hey guys, welcome to our first video commenting on your comments.
Yeah, that's right. We are looking forward to reading through them and telling you what makes it interesting.
It's almost like we're real YouTubers now.
Yeah, I was always a real YouTuber. No.
Okay, anyway. So, first of all, we got some common questions that a lot of people have asked. One of them is, where's Peggy? Well, I'll explain. So, basically, I started this channel with Peggy about 6 months ago, but she's actually quite busy at the moment working on some other stuff that she's producing, some other projects. She's got a YouTube channel that she produces called, what's it called?
NTD Beauty and Health. You guys should check that out.
Yeah,
cool.
We'll put the link for you right there. Check that out. She will be coming back at some time in the future to do a couple of videos with us as a guest star, but we're going to be having Yi on the show as the regular guest star, and maybe a few other people as well.
Yeah, definitely. We're going to have an array of people, guest stars.
Stars. So let's move on to another comment that's quite common. How did you learn Chinese? A lot of people have been asking. Well, Yi, do you want to start?
Well, actually, you know, people automatically assume that I speak Chinese because I am Chinese, but I wasn't born in China, and I basically lived in America for a long time. Well, not a long time, probably until I was around 9-ish. Then I went back to China for 6 years for the specific purpose of learning Chinese, because I didn't want to let go of my Chinese roots, I suppose. And 6 years, I really learned a lot. And yeah, now I'm back in America.
Awesome. Well, I was born in Hong Kong, and I lived there for 9 years when I was young. And then I got ripped away from that place because I really loved Hong Kong. And my parents forced me to go to England because they thought that I'd be going to a good school and all this, etc. Turned out it wasn't anywhere near as good as they'd described it to me, you know. And so I still was very interested in Chinese stuff and wanted to discover my roots. So I actually went to university and did a degree in modern and classical Chinese. And as part of that degree, I went to Taiwan for 1 year. And then I came back and I graduated, and that's from the School of Oriental and African Studies at the University of London. So let's go on to another question. You want to read this one?
Yep. This comment is by a commenter called Li Kaicong, I believe. And he says, no, Taiwan has always been a part of China. What do you think ROC stands for? Geographically, culturally, ethnically, and politically Chinese. ROC, which is the Republic of China.
That's right.
And PRC, People's Republic of China, are just two versions. Doesn't matter now anyway, they both recognize it is one China, one family.
Well, this is worth mentioning. This was on our How Not to Get Arrested in China video. And, you know, a lot of people had a little bit of a war in the comments, a lot of different opinions on that. And that was great. And this guy, well, you know, Taiwan has always been part of China. That's not really true, but it was part of China for several hundred years. Definitely during the whole of the Qing dynasty, it was part of China. Then it was Japanese for 50 years. So, you know, if you go to Taiwan, you know, some people there will say that they're Chinese, and some people will definitely say they're not Chinese. And if you call them Chinese, they'll hate you.
Well, they are independently governed, aren't they?
Yeah, their government, they're completely independent. But they only have de facto independence, which means that they are not recognized as independent, but they are actually functioning as independent. So that's the real situation. Whatever you want to, you know, I don't care. Like, whatever, you know, whatever the people of Taiwan want or whatever, you know.
All about the people.
And then there was another comment on that video by someone called Homo Duran. It's a bit of a weird name, but anyway. The so-called Falun Gong gestures are nonsense. Of course you can stretch out. So you remember in that video we showed that, you know, it's how not to get arrested in China.
Right.
We displayed one of the first of the Falun Gong's exercises, which was this, a stretching exercise.
Yeah.
If you don't know what Falun Gong is, it's this meditation practice that's banned in China. You know, what would you say? Would you get arrested for doing that?
Well, I would say that, of course, you could go to some secretive place and sort of, you know, stretch out and maybe no one would notice, but I wouldn't suggest doing it on Tiananmen Square or some place that you know a lot of eyes are going to be on you, because China is still very sensitive, and I wouldn't recommend that, just, you know, as a precaution.
You know, Falun Gong, its exercises is essentially a stretching exercise. And it's crazy that, you know, you can get arrested for
just doing that, basically. So I think that was the point.
Yeah. So this next comment was on how to say you're awesome in Chinese.
This is by a commenter called Zanny. Yeah. Nice. I don't know if that's your last name, but that's pretty awesome. So my friends mistranslated this as, quote, very good for me because I think they don't know the English word awesome. So I will tell them tonight. Yay, TY. Thank you. Love your show. Yay. We know that Ben has one fan at least. Do one about the grass mud horse. I dare you.
Want to explain that grass mud horse thing?
I don't know about that. It's this really popular term in Chinese that it would only make sense in Chinese. And actually, I don't know if we're allowed to do such things like that on our channel, but you can Google it. Google grass mud horse, and there's like this really awesome song made about that term. And essentially, it's basically a.
It's the name, isn't it?
It's
a play on words, right?
It's a play on words of something that's very rude and dirty.
Yeah.
Not good. Yeah, but feel free to go check that out because it's kind of funny. So.
Okay, so we got another comment here from someone called 105995782. Wow, that's a really original name. I could never have thought up something like that. So he says, or he or she says, if you call someone a ben dan, it's most likely that it's your friend or someone who knows you being playful or being mad with you. It's rarely used to insult others nowadays. The offensive word would be chun dan. This was on our How to Call Someone Stupid in Chinese video.
Right, that was the collaboration between Dan from Off the Great Wall with Ben, because, Ben, Dan. Anyways,
Ben,
I think that 10599578 is correct. I mean, ben dan is not that bad of an insult, but we don't want to teach you terrible insults on this show. I mean,
we're just teaching you playful insults.
Yeah.
Nice insults.
Yeah.
Okay, so also on that video, someone called Icy Shard. I love that name. It's really makes you sound like a really compassionate, wonderful, beautiful person. Anyway.
Sarcasm isn't your strongest trait.
So Icy Shard says, does Dan know Chinese? Does he speak Chinese?
Dan speaks Chinese not so well, but his Shanghainese is pretty good because he is Shanghainese and he grew up with that dialect. But his Mandarin is just not that good.
Maybe we'll do a series on Shanghainese in the future and we'll get Dan to come and guest star on those.
Or we should do something like Canto, which is also
a lot of people have requested Canto and we are looking into that.
Yeah,
we've got someone lined up. You might see that very soon. Why don't you read the next comment?
Okay, let's see. This is this comment is from someone called Hoa JPPO, I don't know. And it says, Ben is so funny, smiley face.
Oh, well.
Uh-huh.
Thank you so much.
Uh-huh. At least we all know that one person thinks Ben is funny.
Yeah, I got loads of fans.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's.
I was even in the newspaper in Taiwan.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I'm
sure.
nothing here, but in Taiwan I'm famous a little bit.
No. No.
Okay. Next, Laura Thumb, THUM, says, I can't help but wonder if you're related to Dan is on Fire on YouTube as well. I guess she's talking about me. Let's have a look at this guy, this Dan is on Fire guy, huh?
I had 2 jobs as a teenager that I wasn't that good at. Now, my first job was at a DIY store that I eventually got fired from.
So, do you think resemble this guy?
I think it's the accent.
The accent? But that guy's got a ridiculously posh Ponzi accent. How could I sound like him?
You sound exactly like him.
Exactly.
Posh
Exactly
Ponzi
like him.
would be the 2 best words to describe you. Yeah. That's.
Oh, Dan, well, I guess we got a thing going, buddy. Maybe you want to come learn some Chinese. Huh? So on this next set of comments are from our video, Should Hong Kong Return to British Rule? The first one is, 终于有外国人明白 Hong Kong 不等于 Chinese.
You know,
What do you say to that?
I think that's a very common kind of idea that's amongst Hong Kongers, that they feel like they are somewhat separate, just like the Taiwanese, that they're somewhat separate from the Chinese mainland. Yeah, I mean, what do you say?
Well, Hong Kong's ruled under one country, 2 systems. So if you live in Hong Kong, you're really not controlled by the communist government. I mean, your government is a totally different government. But Hong Kong's foreign policy and everything is handled by China. It's part of China now. But it was so long under the British that the Hong Kong people really have a hugely different mindset to people from mainland China. So the next comment was from someone called LOL02468. A lot of numbers. And this person says, men, I miss British Hong Kong. Well, I guess they meant to type man. But, that's great. I mean, I miss it too. I was born there.
Was it still under British rule when you were born?
It was. I was born there in 1985 and
You're old.
It changed I'm not old. I mean, I was born in 1989.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. So I mean, I would really love to see Hong Kong be independent, like Singapore, like a little city, state, financial center kind of thing. But China's so powerful, and mainland China wants Hong Kong. Hong Kong really needs a country to protect it, so it's got to be either British or Chinese. Of course, it would be incredibly hard for British to get it back. It would only be if the regime in the mainland fell, and Britain took it back or something happened like that. Now we got this comment from someone called I Am Mr. 4, who says, you were born in Hong Kong, but you cannot speak Cantonese. What a shame.
Yeah, Ben, what a shame.
佢講得啱啦，我係香港出世嘅，但係而家我嘅普通話好過我嘅廣東話，我好想返香港學，但係而家冇時間啦。
Something like you don't have time to learn Cantonese.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I said it right.
I would love to understand Cantonese, to listen to all the great Cantonese songs out there. Like half of the
true.
really catchy Asian songs are Cantonese, so I don't know. I mean, it'd be nice to understand what they mean.
That's right. I've always felt that Cantonese was kind of like the cool Chinese,
That's not right.
That is right. It's
I
so
speak
true.
Mandarin. I'm the coolest.
It's not cool. It's sort of like, Mandarin's more sort of like highbrow and cultural, and Cantonese is sort of like, yo. You know what I'm saying?
No. Moving on.
So this next one is from the Chinese Zodiac Explained video.
Right. So, Nia Nia X33, hope I said that right. Isn't that the wrong shen in Shema? Shouldn't it be shen, not shen? But hey, I finally remember the order of the Zodiac now. I can tell my friends I was right.
Well, that's great. Please tell your friends. As for the shen, in Simplified, they use, this shen. And in traditional Chinese, you can use either this or that shen. People get confused because the one that's actually standardized in Taiwan is the shen, that is the simplified one. But if you look at a lot of newspapers outside of China, they actually often use the more complicated version of shen. So since we're promoting traditional stuff, we went with the more complicated one. Yeah.
I do like all the history behind each character, but honestly, the Chinese writing system is very unpractical for people who need to learn it fast. I personally prefer Simplified only by the fact that it is easy to remember and to remember the stroke order, but when I look at traditional and see all the meaning is right there and the characters, well, it is just fascinating. And don't take me wrong, people, but Simplified Chinese characters is also easy on the eyes. Just my opinion. Great video.
Well, thanks for saying it's a great video. What do you think, Yi, about the Simplified and traditional?
I grew up learning Simplified, and definitely was easier for me, I would say. But, like you said, I mean, you said in the comment that a lot of the traditional characters really have that deep inner meaning, and actually it might look hard to write, but if you break it down into parts, you can see why the word was formatted that way, and it just explains to you basically what the word is. And that, I think, is something that Simplified can't do as well. So, like we said in the video, if you learn traditional, chances are you're going to be able to understand Simplified. But I wouldn't say, I have a little bit of problem reading traditional as well sometimes. So, sometimes I wish that I had gone the other way, but, who knows?
Well, I learned traditional first, and then, well, actually no. So first I learned Simplified for 1 year.
Right.
I learned about 600 characters. Then I learned traditional for ages and learned like a couple of thousand. And then I went back to learning Simplified because I want to be able to read everything. And, I think that everyone should learn traditional. And I think that now when we type on computers, there's really no excuse. Like, even if you can only write Simplified with a pen because you grew up in China, you can still switch your computer to traditional and just type in pinyin, and then it comes up with the characters. And most people who learn Simplified can adapt and start recognizing. It's only 30% of the characters that are actually any different anyway. One good thing that someone did post in a comment on that video, which they had a good point, they put 3 characters. I think it was Shu, Hua, and some other character. I can't remember which one. And anyway, in traditional, they look very, very similar. And, when they're small, it looks almost exactly the same. In Simplified, they all look completely different. But they probably do lose the kind of historical meaning.
They look the same because they're in the same category. Like, back in the good old days, we had, educated people, educated Chinese people, and this was in the dynasties. We had to learn Qin Qi Shu Hua. So, Yeah, so basically that's, like you said,
What does that mean? What is that?
琴棋书画 qin is kind of like an
the
instrument.
instrument?
Qi is chess. Shu obviously is the
Writing.
writing book. I mean reading. 画 and is drawing, painting, and calligraphy, things like that. So it would be right for them to look similar because they are in that one category.
I see. Very insightful. Even where they use traditional in Taiwan, everyone learns traditional, but they do actually have their own set of simplified characters that when people write like little notes and stuff that's not formal, they often write this simplified version of Chinese that Taiwan has just for quickness. It's another simplified that's different to the mainland simplified. Well, it's quite similar, but it's a different system. Okay, so now this guy, James Scott, also commenting on the traditional versus simplified video, said, you had some good points, and I loved how you cast Mao and the CCP as a realization of 1984, except that your arguments are one-sided and presented as indisputable.
Well, in response to that, it's not an indisputable argument. It's
our opinion.
Yeah, it's our opinion, and it's our interpretation of what's happening, but feel free to, basically think what you want to think about it. Yeah, we're just here to present you with what we think.
There was a healthy debate in the comments section of that video.
That's
a lot of people said, wow, great video, your points are so correct. And then other people said, how dare you, it's nothing like 1984. You guys are making it up, And, that's cool, because you guys can think whatever you want. This is what we think, you'd have to agree. So, yeah.
So, well, moving
thanks
on.
for watching anyway. And all the people who commented negatively obviously still watch the video, because otherwise they wouldn't have been able to comment.
Yeah, I mean, disagreement is healthy. Like, disagreement, like a discussion is always healthy for, whether it's a video or just a general topic. You need both sides or multiple sides of the argument. That's what makes that's what makes something interesting, basically.
Yeah. So, Yi, I think you should read this last one.
All right. This one is from Praise Odimium 59. Praise? Prase?
Wow. That name must have been taken by 58 people already before he got it.
I'm not sure. But basically, this person said, I enjoy Yi's presentation, and I think she's quite pretty. Thank you. You're probably the only person who thinks so. However, something must be done about her hairstyle. I'm not normally the type to focus on these shallow topics. However, in this case, I must request that Yi change her hairstyle for her own good and for the good of the world. Man, this is a serious issue. And this current hairstyle forces her to tilt her head in order to keep her hair out of her eyes. This posture is intolerable for my attention span. So, I beg of you, Yi, please change your hairstyle. I did not know I was causing so much harm to the people of the world. I totally agree with you that you're not the only one who says that. My mom also tells me that I should keep my hair out of my eyes, so maybe I should do a ponytail in the future. What do you think, Ben?
I'm staying out of it. You do whatever maybe we should hire a stylist or something.
No. Maybe I should just get bangs, like the swervy
like
kind.
That would be good.
Asian style. Yeah.
Yeah, do that. That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, so I'll just keep my hair on this side so I can basically look straight.
So it doesn't pull your head down.
Basically.
It's got a lot of volume, hasn't it? It's quite heavy. Like
I have a lot of hair.
A weight attached to your head.
Well, one of the only great things, I think about me is having a lot of hair, but of course it would cause some troubles.
One of the great things about you?
Having a lot of hair. I mean, you get bald, slower.
Women don't generally get bald, though. It's more of a guy's thing.
No. Anyways.
Okay, well, that's all we got time for today on those comments, but thanks very much for commenting, guys, and keep up the healthy debate on our videos.
Definitely.
We don't always agree with you.
Yeah, but you are welcome to disagree with us.
Yes.
Tell us what you think. If you agree with us, disagree with us, just comment.
And like or dislike.
Yeah, definitely. We love feedback of any sort.
Cool. And if you have any other feedback, you can always email us at studychinesenow@gmail.com. But until then,
再见。